Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda. I am back sitting down. My back feels much better. Thank you. I am here today with an original tag. So, I spent a lot of time on booktube, bookstagram, book threads, all those, and people have opinions on what is good and what is bad. And this book tag is called "It Isn't That Bad." The "It Isn't That Bad" book tag. Now, this has 10 things that people have said are bad things. And I want to preface this by saying none of these things are bad, with a couple little caveats. None of them are bad. Just people like to say they are, but they aren't really. So I thought I'm just going to make a list of these and put them out there and let people say which ones they do and just show everyone it's not that bad. So I have 10 things. The first one is, do you dog ear your books? I don't dog ear, well, I rarely dog ear my books. The reason I used to dog ear my books more often, because I didn't have a bookmark around, but I am swimming in bookmarks, so I don't need to dog ear a book for that reason. I will sometimes dog ear my book if there's something on a page that I want to remember and I don't have like a little tab to stick on it, then sometimes I'll dog ear a book. But I don't think there's anything really wrong with dog earing a book. It's your book. You can do whatever you want with it. That's sort of my feeling with a lot of these. It's your book. You can do whatever you want. Caveat, of course, is a lot of these, what if they're library books? I've read enough library books that are dog-eared that I don't think it makes a difference. Question number 2. Do you annotate your books? This one is a hot topic, I will say. So if I annotate my books, personally, I do it in a way that doesn't permanently mark the book. Like I have clear sticky notes that I'll put in and write on those, or I'll tab or whatever. I don't usually write directly into my book. Now, the question has always come, what if you get a book that's annotated? I actually don't mind it if I get a book from a used bookstore or from a little free library that's annotated. I actually think it's kind of fun to see annotation. So I don't have a problem with annotating your books if that's what you want to do. Big caveat though. Don't annotate library books. They're not yours. That's the one that kind of makes my blood boil, which came up a lot during the I'm so annoyed, being the annoyed period. But there's nothing wrong with annotating your books. I just don't do it in a way that permanently does, but it's your book. Do whatever you want to do. Question number 3. Do you roll covers or break spines? So I think we all know what breaking spines is. And this usually applies to paperbacks, but you can do this in a hardback. It's where you kind of open the book so much the back kind of creaks. And rolling a spine, by the way, I have a, because not everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say that. That's when you hold the book like this to read. Obviously, only paperbacks for this. I tend not to break my spines. I just don't really need to. If I do, it's an accident and whatever. My only issue with it is sometimes it makes the pages of the book come out, which, whatever. That's not a great thing, but it was an accident. And I do roll my spines when I can. I will say, as far as library books, I cannot think of a time when I've had a library book, because they usually, when you get a paperback from the library, they they do some library magic to the cover where it makes it really stiff. But I will roll my covers to read. It's just a lot easier to read like this with one hand. And sometimes, one thing that is these are kind of mutually exclusive, because you tend not to break the spine when you do this. But lots of times if you do this, poor Anne Boleyn is just you will break a spine, but whatever. They're both fine. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, yeah, accidents happen, but whatever. It's your book. Do whatever you want. Should have called this the "It's your book, do whatever you want" tag. Okay, the next one is, do you listen to something while you read other than just sort of what's around you? Sometimes people have real opinions about this. Some people listen to music, some people listen to ASMR, all these things. My personal preference is to not listen to anything. That is just my personal preference. However, I live in a house with 3 other people and my house is noisy. So I do actually put my headphones on and will put on like white noise or ASMR or maybe some like really gentle instrumental music when it's noisy around here. Anything with words is hard, or anything that's kind of loud and jarring is hard for me, but whatever. I know people who can read a book and listen to a podcast at the same time. I don't know how you do it, but hey, you do you. If that works for you, go for it. But yeah, my preference is not to listen to anything, but I will do it if it beats the alternative. Okay. This is another hot topic. I was kind of surprised about this one, but it is, do you read in the bathroom? And I will admit that I do. That's where I do my short story reading, is in the bathroom. Now, my bookish best friend will tell me this is a recipe for hemorrhoids. So yeah, that could be a bad thing. But really, it's great reading time. It's quiet, you know. I have a book while I'm doing my makeup. I kind of hold it up and all this. And yeah, I have no shame for reading in the bathroom. There you go. And if you don't, that's fine too, but do not be ashamed of reading in the bathroom. It is a great place to read. Okay, number 6, do you read in water, such as reading in the bathtub or reading in a pool or a hot tub or anything like that? And I don't do that. Just, first of all, I'm a shower person, so I don't read in the shower. That's hard to do. But also, I just tend not to. I do know that I'm clumsy and I would drop the book and I would get the book there. But that I choose not to do that to my books. But if you choose to do that, that's fine. It's your book. Do whatever you want. And I know people who, that's sort of their self-care, is to read in the bathtub. And that's awesome. That is perfectly awesome. If I were to read in the bathtub, it would probably be a magazine just for the disposable part of it. But again, do you. It is okay to read in water, in the bathtub or whatever. If you are on an e-reader, you need to be a little more careful though. But that is technology. That's a whole other thing. Okay, number 7. Ooh, another hot one. Do you DNF? So it used to be like, as I've been in the bookish world for a long time, it used to be like, oh my gosh, you DNF'd a book? You quit this book? And there was shame with DNFing. And I think it's much more accepted now. But every once in a while, I hear people saying, I don't DNF, which I'm like, really? But that's fine. You do you. I am someone who probably is more of a DNFer in theory than I am in practice. I need to be more of a DNFer in practice. But there's nothing wrong with it. I will DNF a book. Lots of times I will not DNF books. I probably should, because if I feel some kind of obligation for it, like it's a book club book, I'm kind of having that right now. However, I did also recently DNF a book that was for a book discussion, so go figure. But yeah, I DNF. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, number 8. Do you ever read ahead or skip to the end of a book? I actually used to do this quite a lot. Like when I was, I don't know, a teenager, I used to do this all the time. I couldn't read mysteries until I got an e-reader and I couldn't skip ahead. That's what got me into mysteries. Mostly I'm not a patient person and I want to know what's coming up. Especially if I start getting like emotionally invested in the characters. I'm like, is everything gonna be okay? I don't do this very much now. But unless there's something like, I think there might be a trigger coming and I want to make sure, but I have done it in the past. And if that's how you read, fabulous. There's nothing wrong with it. But you know, some people don't like to admit that they do it. And I will say I have done it in the past and it's fine. It's fine. It's your reading life. You do you. Maybe I should have called this the you do you tag. I don't know. Okay, number 9. Are you book polygamous? Which means, do you read more than one book at a time? I, as of right now, have 13 books going. So yes, I am. And I've always been. Well, I shouldn't say I've always been. I have always been as soon as I started e-reading and listening to audiobooks. Because for a long time, I would just have 3 books going. I would have a print book, an ebook, and an audiobook, and I would read at different times, and that was great. Now I have short story collections that I read in the bathroom where I rotate through them. I read an essay collection at bed. I have poetry that I inflict on my children. I have a book that I'm reading all year long and all these other things. 13 is a bit too much. I will give you that. That is a bit too many books, but I always have more than one book going. I cannot think of the last time I think I had one book going was December 31st, and I was trying to finish that one last book so that I could start just January 1st completely free. That's, I think, the last time that I have only had one book going. So yes, I am very much a book polygamist. And number 10, this is the question that started it all because my husband thinks this is a really horrible thing. And I don't disagree with him. I just think of it as the other way, but I think that a lot of people are in this position. And that is, do you own more books than bookshelf space? And Lord, yes. Yes, I do. I have piles of books. Now, my husband's saying why this is bad. That means you have too many books. Whereas I say it's bad because I don't have enough bookshelves. And that's a hill I will die on. Right there. I need more bookshelves. But yes, I do. That is something that some people say, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it other than the fact you need more bookshelves. I don't think it means you have to get rid of books. I think it means you have more you need more bookshelves, at least in my situation. But maybe other people say this is a sign I need to do an unhaul or something. Maybe, I don't know. But I don't think I'm unique in having more books than bookshelf space. And now I have a bonus question. And I put this as a bonus because I know that this doesn't really apply to everyone, but it's also something that I've heard come up a lot. If you go to a little free library, do you sometimes take a book and not leave a book? Now, I don't think I have ever done that. I am much more apt to leave books and not take any, just because that's how I unhaul a lot of books, is at little free libraries. But I want to say, if you were walking by a little free library and you see a book you want to read and you don't have another book to put in, it's fine. Take the book. There are a lot of people like me who put in a lot more books in little free libraries than they take out. It all equals out in the wash. Now, if you're taking books so that you can turn around and sell them, that's no bueno. Don't do that. But if you just want to read the book and you don't have enough, that's okay. Just take the book. I'm giving you permission to take the book without leaving a book. I would urge you to return it, if not to that little free library, in fact, probably not to that little free library, to another little free library once you're finished with it, but it's fine. Take the book. I've covered for you. It's okay. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who's covered for you. I've put a lot of books in little free libraries without taking any. There's a cushion. You can take the book. So anyway, that's my little, it isn't that bad book tag. I'd love to hear some other answers, what other people have. Now, normally on book tags, I only tag 3 people, but because this is an original tag, I'm actually going to tag 10 people. And because I know no one's been tagged. So the first person, I will just go through these really quickly, but if I don't mention you and you want to do the tag, please do it. Just do it and tag me because I want to see them. Plus I will create a playlist with all the videos. So the first one is My Messy Bookshelf, and then Pat at Book Chat with Pat, Sue at Sue Jackson, because I always tag Sue, Jess at Jess Book Girl TV, Angelia at Read and Reread, Suey at Suey's Book Banter, Erin at Erin Go Live, Becca at Read Becca, Jennifer at Jennifer Loves Books, and Lindsay at Lindsay Reads. So if you choose to do this tag, I would love to see it. Be sure to tag me. And if I didn't tag you, you are still tagged, because I would love to see your answers. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.